Introduced as the hostile entity from the Alien franchise, the Xenomorph XX121 is arguably one of the most horrifying monsters in pop culture. This deadly creature can latch onto its hosts and result in their deaths in order to complete its multi-staged life cycle, and it also has a hive mind that connects it to the Xenomorph Queen. While they've often terrorized the crew of several ships, such as the Covenant and Nostromo, their actions have caused fans to raise their eyebrows over their intelligence. Today, we will be exploring just how intelligent these xenomorphs are and tell you everything you need to know about these smart, hostile aliens. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Evolution of xenomorph intelligence. The xenomorphs are essentially extraterrestrial, hive-minded endoparasitoids, and they have about the same level of intellect as a primate. They do seem capable of learning things, gathering information, piecing things together, and using their environment to their own advantage. While most of them do not have the abilities to introspect or reason, the Xenomorph Queen surpasses the regular xenomorphs and humans when it comes to manipulating human technology and outwitting her opponents. Even though the xenomorphs are comparatively slower than human beings, they can learn things, as demonstrated in their ability to operate human machinery, even if it took them some time to get a grip on it. In some situations, they've displayed fast reasoning as well as the ability to find creative solutions to problems, such as the time they killed one of their own kind to use its acidic blood as a means to escape. In other instances, they've learned to use military tactics and darkness in order to move through the shadows and ambush their opponents. While xenomorphs seem to express limited emotions, they do show fear when exposed to fire, and they are capable of communicating their plan through growls, shrieks, or screams. Some theories also suggest that their intelligence is influenced by their host bodies, and various castes of xenomorphs, such as the Queen, drones, and warriors, also have varying intellect. Over time, we learned that the xenomorphs operated under a hive mind, and their queen controlled this collective consciousness and used it to order the rest of her nest. Sometimes, the Xenomorph Queen could communicate with potential hosts through telepathic means, which often involved terrorizing dreams and religious visions. Sometimes, these visions prompted the hosts to form cults to worship the xenomorph, as seen through Walter Golic's example. Golic ended up falling prey to the telepathic orders of a captured xenomorph and soon embarked on an adventure to free it, only for the xenomorph to kill him eventually. These instances highlight the role their survival instincts play in guiding their intelligent schemes, and it seems like their hive mind also included a collective memory that could be passed along at a genetic level. This meant that future generations of xenomorphs had the abilities that were developed by their previous generations, and this was highlighted through Ripley's tests, which confirmed that the newer xenomorphs could read and understand various languages. Comparative intelligence, xenomorphs versus human and predators. While coming up with the xenomorphs' designs, the creators wanted them to appear as primal, predatory creatures as opposed to other extraterrestrial species in sci-fi media who possess higher intelligence. The xenomorph had a biomechanical design created by Swiss artist H.R. Giger, while Italian special effects artist Carlo Rambaldi constructed the xenomorphs' heads' practical effects. These designs were intentional and were supposed to emphasize the xenomorphs' main goal to preserve and propagate their species. They didn't seem to possess the same level of intelligence as humans, and their actions were only motivated by their need for survival. This prompted them to destroy any species that threatened their existence, as well as use other species, such as human beings, as host bodies to multiply their own kind. While comparing the xenomorph to the Yautja, or predators, there is no denying that the Yautjas surpassed them in terms of intelligence by a huge margin. They were highly sentient aliens with cultural practices, advanced technology, an official language, and so on, while the xenomorphs were quite animalistic in nature. However, the FX Alien Earth series has highlighted that the xenomorphs seem capable of higher intelligence, as depicted in the scenes where Wendy manages to establish some kind of connection with them. In another instance, the baby xenomorph implanted in CJ's extracted lungs finally hatches and seems to have some kind of a connection with Wendy, almost as if it views her as as its mother. This suggests that the Xenomorphs might be evolving to a point where they achieve higher sentience. But again, various comics, films, and video games have depicted these creatures with varying levels of intelligence. At the end of the day, the Xenomorphs do exhibit emotions, such as fear or pleasure, but there is no proof of them having higher intelligence or the capability to think logic. They seem to operate with the help of their base instincts to avoid danger, but some theories suggest that their intelligence also varies based on the creatures they use as their hosts. Given this logic, it is likely that Xenomorphs with an intelligent host specimen might be smarter, and the baby Xenomorph's mysterious relationship with Wendy is a slight nudge in this direction. Evidence of learning and problem-solving. The Xenomorphs had often displayed problem-solving abilities while overcoming obstacles or settling down in new environments, which directly reflects their intelligence. Many fans have debated their exact level of intelligence, but everyone seems to agree that they are excellent at observational learning and problem-solving. This can be highlighted through their behavior in Aliens, where they took alternate routes to reach the control room by crawling above the ceiling and figuring out a way to disconnect the power to evade the remote sentry turret defense system. In this way, they managed to leave the Colonial Marines defenseless and cornered them in the dark by thinking on their feet and quickly moving through different routes to catch them off guard. In another such instance, the aliens were trapped behind bulletproof glass in Alien Resurrection, and they used their own acidic blood to sacrifice one of their own in order to make a swift escape. While evading the chamber, one of the Xenomorphs even figured out how to use the red button to release an icy gas in the chamber and weaponize it against their captors. In Alien Covenant, the protomorph did not take long to figure out how to evade monitoring by understanding the purpose of a surveillance camera and destroying it. In another scene in Aliens, we can see that the Xenomorphs have managed to stay alive for longer than their counterparts in the original film, and James Cameron pointed out that they had more time to learn about their environment and apply this knowledge to ensure their survival. These instances highlighted their ability to navigate complicated and intricate environments such as spacecrafts or lab facilities, thereby suggesting an advanced level of cognitive function that went beyond mere survival. They were capable of analyzing their surroundings and picking the best solution, as well as using their environment as camouflage to hide in the shadows or corner their prey using ambush tactics. Weyland-Yutani's agent Ash, who acted as the science officer on board the USCSS Nostromo, described the Xenomorphs as perfect organisms and admired their ability to survive without being clouded by remorse, conscience, or any delusions of morality. Among other Xenomorphs, their queen seems to be the smartest among them all, and she made precise judgments and guided the Xenomorphs to attack or stand down depending on the circumstances. In one such instance, the Xenomorph Queen had called off her warriors when she saw that Ripley was aiming the flamethrower towards the eggs in Aliens. The Queen was also smart enough to hide inside the landing gear bay of the dropship and chase after Ripley to exact revenge for destroying her nest. Overall, we can say that the Xenomorph's intelligence is alien to us, even if we know that these creatures are capable of ambushing their prey and relying on their instincts to deal with any incoming threat. While they don't seem as intelligent as human beings, they are smart enough to know when to run away and when to attack, and we can deduce that their intelligence is on par with big cats and apes. Hive-mind and social structure. The Xenomorphs had a strong predatory instinct that enabled them to hunt and eliminate any threats, and they also had heightened senses that helped them detect any potential prey. They could also adapt to a wide range of environments and blend into their surroundings, but these abilities were a result of their biological drive to survive more than their intellect or conscious thought. For the most part, the Xenomorphs were solitary hunters who worked independently while operating within a hive structure. The Xenomorph Queen played a huge role in the hive dynamics, hierarchy, and reproductive cycle, and sometimes she used telepathy to guide the Xenomorphs to work together to capture prey in dire circumstances. They seemed to have some level of social intelligence and an ability to understand teamwork and operate in a group dynamic, even if they were not as socially advanced as humans. Some castes of Xenomorphs, such as drones and warriors, could communicate among each other through growling sounds sounds and hisses, and they also had the ability to change their tails' shapes to pass messages to one another. The Xenomorph Queen seems to possess some level of telepathic power, and this concept was first put forth in the 1988 Dark Horse comics as well as the Alien novel adaptations by Steve Perry. In the first book, Aliens Earth Hive, humans were still confident that they might contain the xenomorph outbreak on Earth, and scientists then extensively studied the species, and Dr. Arona especially studied the Xenomorph Queen in his capacity as the scientific civilian advisor for the colonial marines. He stated that while captured alien drones had gotten a bit smarter over time, they could barely match a dog in terms of intelligence. However, the alien queen seemed smarter than most humans and had managed to survive a battle that destroyed half of San Francisco's downtown population. He further pointed out that she fell in the range of 175 points on the fictional Erwin Schlatter scale that measured intelligence within the franchise, making her sharper than most of humanity. Later tests on the alien queen during the Earth War were conducted by General Spears, whose findings revealed that she could be intimidated using specific measures and that she had some basic understanding of cause and effect. However, they were unable to tame her or even intimidate her into submitting to a human's will, pointing to the fact that she did have higher intelligence and the ability to outwit her opponents. The Xenomorph Queen displayed tactical thoughts, goal-oriented behavior, and high intelligence that can be compared to humans or Yautjas, but other castes of xenomorphs did have varying levels of intelligence. For instance, the xenomorph drones were known to be the least intelligent members of the species, and their intellect was connected to their sense of survival. While they could cooperate with one another, they did not possess the higher intelligence of the warrior caste, who had coordinated hunting movements, created problem-solving abilities, and had a higher ability to communicate with each other. Limits and nature of xenomorph intelligence. Unfortunately, the xenomorph's intelligence does have some limitations despite their problem-solving abilities and social intellect. Fans have identified that they do have strong instincts that make them effective stalkers capable of finding their next victims turned hosts. However, their intelligence seems to be restricted to survival purposes, and they hardly ever display advanced reasoning, abstract intelligence, or emotional intelligence. It seems that they operate on instinct purely on the basis of their environment, which likens them to animals such as raptors, pigs, dogs, or crows more than they can be compared to humans. Their learned behavior is a result of their survival instincts, and they do not strategize or plan long-term ideas like humans. They also seem to lack emotional depth and are mainly driven by their survival instincts. Marvelous verdict. And with that, we've explored the xenomorph's intelligence and every single piece of evidence that points towards their survival-inspired intellect. While they might not be as highly evolved as human beings, they are most definitely smarter than they appear, and it would be unwise for their victims or potential hosts to underestimate their abilities. We hope you enjoyed diving into their intelligence and behavioral evolution, and we'd love to hear what you think of them in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.